new to me, so I'm honored to lead in this practice. Um, we still got a couple minutes till we'll officially start, but you maybe want to block if you got it close by. If not, no worries. There'll be lots of options and ways to make this practice truly your own. Playlist will pop in here in a moment. And then I also will mention that donations today I'm welcoming for Cunningham Children's Home, which is somewhere based here in Champaign or Urbana, Illinois. And it's a place that I used to have the opportunity of leading yoga practices there to the residents. And really, it was sometimes one of my favorite yoga classes of the week. Sometimes it was the hardest yoga class of the week, but it was just a reminder of that, yoga really is for everyone, for every situation, especially when we think of yoga being valuable for whether it's a trauma setting or even, a seasonal setting like we have now, the fall equinox. We really bring an emphasis to grounding. So maybe you think whether you're making a financial donation today, or maybe just thinking of kind of donating your energy, that not only yourself, but maybe those in that situation or anyone, kind of dealing with, finding their roots, finding their space, you can send some grounding, some kind of calm and present vibes that way.
I love that. So I've gone ahead and I've posted both of the links in the chat, but there are more people coming in. I'm going to post them again for Cunningham House and also for Spotify. So if you don't see anything in the chat, don't worry, it's going to come up. But I wanted to just take this moment and introduce myself. Most of you know me by now. My name is Lisa Johnston, and I am the ambassador lead for Kira Grace Yoga. And I'm really excited and grateful that I am able to host the Rising Together series on Saturday mornings. We're going to be doing that at least through the end of the year. And I'm so excited. You can see Little Miss, not Little Miss, she's amazing. Look how fit and strong and such vibrant energy that Kristina has. So this is Kristina Reese. She is one of our warrior ambassadors. And we are so proud to be able to host her for this series this week. And her, it's going to be about balancing. And I'm sure she's about to describe what she means, because balancing is more than standing on one leg or on your hands. And I will again post at the end her playlist, not her playlist, excuse me. At the end, I'm going to go ahead and I'll repost about Cunningham House as well. So one more thing, next week, we have yet another amazing teacher that's going to be teaching. And gosh, now my brain is gone completely blank. Hopefully they edit that out, but I'll let you know what that is at the end of the class as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome Kristina, and I hope you enjoy your practice. I'm going to go ahead and let a few people in, and then I'm going to mute everybody, and except for Kristina, you will unmute yourself. Just a moment, unmute, and then I'm going to, mute all. Ask to unmute, and I'll spotlight you for everyone. There you go.
Hey. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, Kira Grace, for hosting these Rising Together series. It's definitely been a bright spot in my life as we've, continued to find the transition of being a part of a virtual practice. And today's virtual practice is a balance focus. So we think about balance being this active state. So sometimes, and I love how Lisa said, we're going to do balancing, that it's that ing ending as opposed to balanced, like one, okay. Because if we think of balance as this active state, it means we're going with the flow. We're constantly, finding our center, pulling ourselves back. Maybe, we lost our balance, and that's okay. We come back to it. So as we move through the asanas, you don't have to worry about, stick it and become a statue. In fact, the more you kind of fall, the more you go with the flow, the more you're really learning what it means to balance. So maybe you feel pretty comfortable, standing on 2 feet. You walk about your day pretty, I trip sometimes. I actually fell yesterday, but we walk about our day, pretty confident on our 2 feet. But we built that. We started that from, toddlerhood to become into this space of finding balance. So when we're standing on one leg, when we're standing on one arm, don't worry, you're like, oh no, one arm handstands, what? No, but when we think about finding that sense of balance, again, it's balancing, it's being active. So again, if you've got a block, maybe you want that for practice, but if not, no worries, you'll be completely equipped. We'll go ahead and come to stand on our mat. So can back yourself up and just finding, a soft grounding. If you've got that block, you might have it out. I'm going to start facing the long edge of my mat, but maybe some of you are practicing outdoors and like super power to you. But if you want to step off your mat, that's no problem. I'll just be facing towards you. But we're just going to find a little bit wider than hip distance. So not at our actual hip joints, more like the outer edge of your feet. You can take your feet soft and wide. If you feel like practicing along with the playlist, you can, hit play now, but it's not, this isn't a choreographed to the music class. So it's, if you want that ambiance, cool. If not, maybe, you got a barking dog or something in the background you get to work with. Anyways, so let's take a glance down to our feet and see, just intuitively, I had that sense of putting a hand at my heart. And so if that calls to you, bringing a hand to your heart. But if that feels a little uncomfortable, I say maybe try it. But if it feels too powerful to actually touch your own body, you can just leave your hands by your sides, facing your thighs. But as we take a glance down at our feet, you might take a spread of your toes, fanning them out. You might rise up onto the balls of your feet. Little cracks and creaks are no problem, as long as there's no pain. You might rock back onto your heels. You might shift a little side to side. And then start to bring that shifting, swaying more subtle. And maybe you let your eyes soften closed, or just keeping that soft downward gaze. And while keeping all edges of the feet connected, start to shift your weight a little forward again. Heels stay down. Shift your weight back into your heels, toes stay down. Shift a little to one side. Shift a little to the other, kind of sassy. And then you could kind of swirl, bring it around, or just shifting. Again, the eyes closed, really bring in simply the sensation. So much in this practice will be not about how it looks, exact angles, but how it feels. So now we're feeling the sensation of being off center. But we notice even when we're off center, we can still be balanced. Not just in our physical body, but maybe energetically. We can be really, really busy throughout our day, but we still can feel connected. We can still feel present. So now try to really find that sense of centering. So we can think about finding the four corners of our feet, meaning pressing down through the base of your big toe. You might fan up the rest of the toes again. And then pushing out through your outer heel, sealing your outer arch. Then feeling into that diagonal, pushing down through the inner edge of your heel. You might feel weight sink back. And then just before you feel like you might fall backwards, let the toes fan back down, pushing the outer pinky edge of the toes down. So those kind of four corners of the feet, we imagine then feeling a lift of the arches, like a little suction cup. And then go ahead and bend your knees, find a little buoyancy. Again, little cracks and creaks are no problem. So when we find that buoyancy in the knees, we might again find a little sway forward and back on our feet. And then if your hands haven't already, slide them down to your thighs and take a press down. Dome your back, let your head hang. Still pressing down through base of big toes, out through outer heels. And then we'll slowly roll ourselves up. Shrug your shoulders up by your ears as you bring your chin level with the horizon. And then relax your shoulders back and down, broadening across your collarbones. And turn your palms to face forward. So almost imagine a smile wrapping over the front of our chest. We smile not because we're balanced, but because we're balancing. We're trying, we're finding our edges, we're shifting and swaying. So let's try to bring balance with our breath. We'll explore sort of a 4-count breath. But you could go faster or slower than my voice. It should feel balanced. It should feel accessible to you. So let's take an inhale, floating the arms out and up. Imagine 2, 3, 4, and then pressing your palms together. Exhale, pull to your heart. 2, 3, 4, letting your chin follow. Keeping palms pressed, inhale, fingertips up. 4 and out. 2, 3, 4. So just about a 4 count. Take a bend in your knees this time. Inhale, sweeping arms out and up. Feel the push out through your outer heel. And exhale, pull your hands to your heart. Take a little bend into your knees, bow down. You might start to bring a little back bend as you rise back up. Reach your arms up and exhale, sweeping them out. Rise it back up. Inhale, out and up, rise. Exhale, center and down. Inhale, out and up, rise, maybe a little back bend, and exhale, release. So again, don't worry like, oh, is it out, is it up? It's really you feeling the connection of your breath so that we feel every time we're inhaling, it's this sense of upward or outward energy. And every time we're exhaling, it's this sense of downward or centering energy. Next time you reach your fingertips up towards the sky and then swim them out wide, let's all find an interlace. Bringing your hands to your hips or your knuckles together, draw down with the knuckles, chin to chest, and then rock your left ear towards your left shoulder. You might part your teeth or really open your jaw. And then releasing your chin back to center, draw the opposite ear towards the shoulder. Notice the little nuances of balancing. If you're gripping, could you relax your toes and still feel stable? We can serve that energy. Let your chin release back down towards your chest and bringing your hands as if you have back hip pockets. Draw the elbows towards each other and lengthen up through your collarbone. Feeling that space across the front of the collarbone without letting your ribs really splay up. So you're drawing your tailbone down and then thinking your hands come to your hips. Just like we found those X's from our feet, from our foundation, we're going to think of an X in our core. So from one hip, your right hand on your right hip and your left hand coming up to your left ribs, we imagine an X that's going to join just above the navel. So you can take a little side bend, think of like pulling those X angles together. Again, not about how it looks, just how it feels, bringing that awareness to connect. Let's try to feel that opposite side. So opposite hip bone, opposite rib, thinking, kind of crunching in, noticing that sense of balancing so that when we shift ourselves one way, it's going to pull something else in our body. Then both hands can come down to your hips. You might take a little shoulder shrug. That's as close as we're going to get to like doing anatomy. Don't worry. We don't have to pull in those anatomical terms just today. They're valuable. But we turn our palms back forward. Let's bring some movement back in with our breath. So we're exhaling here. Toes and knees face forward. Then with an inhale, send your arms out and up high to the sky. Pulling palms down to center. Exhale, take that soft squat down. Keeping palms pressed together. Inhale, reach up high to the sky. Then interlacing your fingers except for pointer finger and thumb. Exhale, arc over to the right. Try not to drop that top shoulder, but keeping the front hips and ribs forward. Inhale, pull back center. Exhale, arc diagonal to the opposite side. Inhale, pull back center. And then exhale, take your elbows wide, goalpost or cactus. Inhale, reach up high to the sky. And then exhale, pulling your hands down to your hips. And then we take our first fold here. Deep bend at the knees, send your tailbone back and drape your torso towards your thighs. You can let your head hang, nothing to see. You maybe slide your hands down towards your shins, thighs, or ankles. Notice if your shoulders are drooping. See if your shoulders can draw away from your ears, keeping some space along your neck. And we take a little bit of that swaying again, side to side with our hips. And then as you're swaying side to side, then you can take that time to turn your toes out, or maybe even sending your feet a little wider as we'll come into a goddess squat. So letting your toes turn out, broaden your knees, and inhale, bring your sternum, bring your chest back forward. Good. Inhale, nice and spacious here. Exhale, drop your left shoulder, or one shoulder. We'll get both sides. Inhale, rise back center. And exhale, scoop opposite side. Continue that 2 more times each side. Exhale, offer shoulder. Inhale, elevate chest. Next time you drop your right shoulder is the final time. Then we rise back center, turning the toes out or heels out, toes forward, and take a soft straddle. Here you might bring your hands to your block, shifting forward and back on your feet. Just a soft Prasarita Padottanasana. And then as you shift weight towards the balls of your feet, again, feel the press out through your outer heels. And just a visit for Skandasana, bend your left knee, we'll do both sides, and feel your right inner thigh offer towards the earth. Good. Staying as low as you can, start to shift yourself over to the opposite side. And then back again, shifting over. Exhale, dripping down. Inhale, inseam stretch. And then if you're like me, facing the long edge of your mat, you could get really smooth. And as you shift your shoulders towards the front of the mat, we can walk forward. Everyone's going to come to face the front of the mat with feet together. So stepping your feet together, block available towards the top of your mat. Bring your hands to your shins or thighs. Inhale, elongate your spine. And exhale, fold, release your head and neck. We rise all the way to the sky. Inhale, arms sweep out and up. Exhale, pull hands to heart. Take a little bend into the knees. Palms stay pressed together, then pointer finger and thumb. Inhale, press up. We've got those side to side bends. Exhale, visit one side. Inhale, rise center. Exhale, visit the other side. And inhale, rise center. Exhale, release your arms, find interlace behind your back, drawing knuckles down, broadening across your collarbones. And then with your exhale, bowing inward and towards the earth. Let the torso drip towards the thigh, knuckles rise towards the sky, or simply away from shoulders. Then allowing your hands to lengthen back towards your hips and soften your fingertips down to the earth. We're going to make our way back into a tabletop position. So bending your knees, bring one knee down to the earth and then the other. No worries how you get there. If your knees are a little bit tender, you could bend in your mat to get a little extra cushion to kneel on top. But what we're working towards is keeping the shins parallel and finding this sense of foundation. Just like we found with the 4 corners of our feet, we broaden our base, thinking of the 4 places of contact. So pushing your weight up towards your left hand. Stretching the wrist. And then shifting diagonal back towards your right knee. Most of your weight is there. And then shift towards your left hand. And back towards your right knee. And then you can explore that as a circling motion, but we're not so much focused about, just drawing circles with our hips, although that's great, but we're feeling the distribution, the balancing as our weight shifts towards one hand, pinky, thumb, thumb, pinky, knee, ankle, hip. So you could stay with that nuance of the awareness of balancing in the hands and the heels. Or you could just then take it like, okay, yes, juice it out. Release your low back, release your hips. Sometimes bringing the knees a little wider can feel more spacious for your body. And then I'll beckon us all back into that tabletop position. And so we can, be here, or we can really grow here. So imagining like you're sliding your hands away from each other on your mat. Do that to really broaden, building the space between your shoulder blades, really spacious. And then think of shining the crown of the head forward. So your shoulder blades shrug down your back and away from each other. As we do that, then we have to remind pressing down through the base of the thumb and first finger. So we're not just rolling towards our pinky side. Then checking in, did your toes go together? Take the shins back parallel. You can let the head go back forward. And imagine pushing out through the outer heels, even here. You'll feel the outer edge of your hips. Without moving your knees, think of pulling your knees to the midline, stable and strong. Good. Nice. Now, maybe you've explored spinal balance before, but here we're really engaging into that awareness of activation. So feel the firmness of your right palm, and then trying to make as little movement from that X, stable in your core from hip to rib. Just grow light through your left palm and lengthen your left arm forward. Thumbs up towards the sky. Good. Go ahead and place the hand back down. Feel yourself fortify back into all 4 points, and then broaden up through the opposite arm. Noticing we're not trying to just, shift in, but just go really light. Lift that opposite hand. Lowering back down, feel that exhale firm. Now pressing back through your left leg, push your toe like you're going to go into a plank position. You get a nice stretch into your calf. Hollowing in, stable through your core. For a little more strength, you might try floating your bottom knee away from the floor, but then bringing it back down, knowing that strength there. Now let your back heel elevate off the earth, finding your balance. Notice if you're one arm versus the other, try to stay stable. And then let's go ahead, lower the knee down. You can tap out for your feet, and let's take the other side. So press back long, stretch through the heel, pushing back through the heel while broadening forward through the crown of the head. Quadricep is engaged. Maybe you hover the lower knee, a little extra strength. And then as you fortify your foot back to the floor, let your heel, your back toe float off. Again, we're not shifting our hips or shrugging our shoulders. We're just nice, balanced. 3 points of contact. Go ahead and lower your knee back down. If your wrists need a little break, you could sink back, give your hands a little shake out. But now we'll take that more traditional spinal balance sort of sensation. And here, if you want to get like a little bit tricky for fun, you could take your block, bringing it along your sacrum, along your low back, to just remind yourself like, okay, I can't get, too wonky crazy, buck and bronco with that block. All right, so spinal balance, press into the tops of the feet, grip through the fingertips. Now, taking your left hand forward and your right foot back. Inhale, elevate arm and leg. And exhale, lower hand and knee. See if they could touch at the same time. 4 points of balance. Inhale, opposite hand and knee. 2 points of balance. Exhale, lower, feel all fours. Inhale, float up, opposite hand and knee. You can continue with this, staying as stable as possible. Just feeling that shift so that when we have 4 points of contact, we use it. When we have 1, when we have 2, we use it. Always option to do just the leg and just the arms as you feel out your foundation of balance. Good. Allowing both knees to lengthen back down to the floor. If you have a block on your back, you can go ahead and remove that. We'll sit back towards our heels. Maybe you want that block to sit back between your ankles. And if your knees say no thank you to this position, you can stay standing on the knees, no problem. We take a moment to take some shrugs of our shoulders, some rocks of our head. Maybe rolls of your wrist. And then we'll prepare to rise back in for our balance. So if you're lowered to your knees, everyone's taking an inhale. Send your arms up high to the sky. Exhale, draw your hands down towards your heart. Again, if you want to face towards the long edge of your mat, you could do that. But we'll all shift our weight into our right leg, elevating our left foot out to the side. So I'll be your mirror here. So your left leg's going out, fantastic. And thinking toe and knee, feeling that same wrap out like we did in our goddess squat. Taking a bit of a bend into the knee, you could wiggle your foot out a little wider, and then sending your arms wide out to the side. Virabhadrasana, low warrior 2. Good. Feeling your tailbone lengthen down and under, broad through the front of the hips. And then start to reach out through your left fingertips, lowering your left elbow or palm to your thigh. And then send your right arm straight up to the sky. Noticing as you reach the arm up, the stretch in the side of your hip. You could continue to grow your left fingertips down towards the floor, towards your block. And then let's all high five towards the earth. And then send our right arm long by our ear, thumbs up towards the sky, palm facing behind. Broadening through the chest, feel your inhale spacious here. Good. Relax the toes, feel the four corners of that front left foot. And then offering your exhale, let's lower down. Releasing both hands down to your mat. Turn your left heel out, so you're lengthening down the inseam of the leg. And then rise your hands back up. Thinking of shifting down, stacking hip over knee, arms go wide into a T. Inhale nice and tall. And then reaching away from your foot. Exhale, reach. And then releasing your hand down to your mat. Slice your hand, your top arm, long by your ear. Good. Then starting to point your lower toe. Yep, you read my mind. Start to point your lower toe. You could swim your top arm back up high to the sky, finding a low half moon balance. Feeling that fortification, just like when we lifted out of our plank. Good, nice, long and strong. Now, mindful of your space that you're not going to kick anything, take your top left arm down and forward. We try to float ourselves back into that spinal balance. Left leg lifts back, right arm forward. Inhale. Let's take a little crunch. Exhale, elbow and knee towards your body under you. And inhale, reach out long. 2 more times. Exhale, hugging in. If you're like, come on, let's get a little bit more balance challenge. You could draw your back heel in for more of a drinking bird balance. That causes you to rise the corners of your mouth. You're doing it right. Everyone exhale, release both hands down to the earth. Sink your hips towards your heels and then swirl up your spine. Rise your arms high to the sky. And exhale, pull down to your heart. Shifting your center over to the left side. So we're not sassing out through the hip. We're just feeling our midline of movement. Then our right leg can lift up, no problem. And we plant the right foot. Adjusting as you need, drawing the thigh bone out, squeezing your glutes, and then float your arms wide to the side. Good. Relax your shoulder blades. Look over your long right fingertips. And then start to glide. Reach out through your right fingertips. Release your right elbow or palm to your thigh. And then float your left arm long by your side and up by your ear. Imagine sending the inner groin forward. You could start to float your right fingertips towards the inner edge of your ankle, pressing arm into leg and leg into arm. Or option to come to the block or just hold on. We can hold our poses, but we don't hold our breath. The breath is what kind of stimulates those little flows of balance. Notice your little shifts. And taking your next exhale, offer your top shoulder down, reaching down and forward, both hands come to your mat, and then turning your right heel out. So you feel that length along the long inside of the leg. Just like standing, try to bring weight towards the ball of your foot. And then broaden yourself up, doming through the core, hollow away from the floor, and send your arms wide into a T. Sinking down first through the inseam of the thigh, then we glide. As you glide, that's what helps us balance. We slide the left hip under, floating the left hand down, and then sending your right arm long by your ear. Focus first on this nice side body stretch. And then as we prepare to come to balance, we'll think of that diagonal hip to rib to fortify. So floating your top arm long by your ear, shift yourself forward, pointing your back toe, and the back leg finds lift. Little, engagement here, that makes sense. Broaden, lower, drawing your bottom shoulder under you. And then as you exhale, arc forward, fluid, right hand to mat, right hand stable, spinal balance. Exhale, now dome into your core, heel and elbow, hug. Inhale, reach back long. Exhale, hug in strong. Try 2 more times. Find that nice spinal balance, slow. Good, 1 more big stretch, you got it. And then everyone offer both hands, both knees to your mat. And then if you have turn back to face the traditional front of your mat, take your hands a handprint forward. Tucking your toes, we'll find our first down dog pose. So sending your tail to the sky, doming your upper back like a cat, and then sending your hips up and back as your heels grow heavy. Send your gaze towards your navel, shake your head yes. Feeling even without your heels on the ground. Most people don't get their heels on the ground in down dog, so don't worry if that's you, because that's normal. But think of having those four corners, pressing through the base of the big toe, out through the outer heel, down through the outer pinky, and back through the inner heel. Then let's walk our hands back to meet our feet. So we're at a soft ragdoll at the back of the mat. Knees can bend a lot. You can take your peace fingers, first two fingers and thumbs, gather around your big toes, elongate your spine with an inhale, and exhale, offer your heart towards your thighs. If your elbows bend, they're going towards the long edges of your mat, and your shoulders are still shrugging away from your ears. Taking an inhale, elongate your spine again, this time threading your hands under your feet or bringing the backs of the hands to the fronts of the thighs. We're just stretching into our wrists. So Padahastasana, if that serves you, or taking hands to backs of or tops of thighs. If your feet are on your hands, you might wiggle your toes, massaging the wrist joint. And then everyone offer your next inhale, elongate your spine forward. Bringing everyone hands to thighs, exhale. Inhale, rise up to stand, shrug shoulders by ears, and exhale, offer your palms to face forward. We feel back into our balancing here. So again, not rigid like a statue, but going with the flow. So you might have your block close by because that can be kind of like a kickstand. So you can feel more weight into the other leg, but you can still feel like, all right, I'm here. And then if you don't want it, get it out of there. So we got ourselves in our space. Bring your hands to your hips. And noticing as we shift our weight side to side, one foot versus the other, the hip is going to rise. And so sometimes that's good because that means we don't, need muscle engagement, as much muscle engagement to find the balance. But then sometimes if we're wanting to move from that position, we need to maintain a different kind of stability. So we'll just pay attention to how we move as we make this happen. So take a soft bend in your knees. Push out through your outer heel. Hug in through your inner thighs. And then rise your crown to the sky like you're pulling up pants, shoulders shrug, and then soften. Now we feel our weight come over into our right leg. Elevate your left heel. So as if the whole right side's going to stay exactly the same, we feel our shelf shift forward as you come onto that left tippy toe. This might be perfect and you start to do your ankle and hip circles here. If you're feeling a little bit more ambitious in your balance, you could start to elevate your toe. You could get bigger with the hip circles. But again, we're just finding dynamic balance. If you had like some sort of can-can thing, you could do that. Start to swirl in the opposite direction as well. Notice where you might hold tension instead. Did the jaw clench, the shoulders shrug? Put a foot on the ground, relax where possible. Now, everyone take your left knee to face forward. Toe could be down or knee elevated, no problem. And then start to hug your heel in towards your butt, pointing the knee towards the earth. Good. Feeling the strength of your hamstring, holding your leg here. Gets a little tired, oops, squeeze it back in. Good, and then take a little pulse, pushing back. Again, your toe could be on the ground, no problem. You're still getting this work of the glute and hamstring. And then everyone press the top of the left toe down, shift a little weight back, stretching into the front line of the leg. And then 4 to 5 back forward, press equal into both feet. Feeling again, when we've got that foundation, we're firm in it. Let's take it over to the opposite side. So we're shifting over to left leg, elevate right heel without sinking. You could bring your toe onto your block. You could rise your toe towards the air. And then start to circle your knee, swirl your ankle. Again, you can, let yourself, we're trying to feel what it feels like to be balancing. Good. So better to be somewhere like this or small than to be doing this. Like, oh, I had it. Oh, I lost it. Because that's actually practicing falling, which is also, a good skill. But here, we're practicing that balancing, feeling what it feels like. You notice the little shifts of your feet. If you're circling, explore the opposite direction. And then everyone offer the front knee forward, feeling that support from the core, nice strong X. Hug your heel towards your glute and then point your knee towards the earth. Keeping that contraction in the hamstring, not in the jaw. Notice if you sunk, try to keep shifting up. Hug that hip in. Good, squeeze it up. And imagine pulsing back. So again, if you're losing the balancing, you can bring the toe down, still get the dynamics. And then everyone, if you haven't already, lower the toe, lengthen back, feel a stretch into the ball of the feet. Even when our toe is pointed, can we think of those four corners? And then float your foot back forward and fortify. You might, all right, shift it out. We're towards the back of our mat here. Let's bring ourselves back down. So exhale, offer your arms by your side. Inhale, shine your arms up high to the sky, broad at your collarbones. And exhale, bow forward, releasing torso to thighs. Inhale, hands to shins or thighs, elongate your spine. Exhale, walk your hands out on your mat, finding a nice high plank position. Grip through your fingertips, and then lower your left knee down to the earth and float your right heel off, pushing back through the right heel. Good. As you exhale, draw your right knee towards your right shoulder and step your right foot up outside your pinky finger. You can use your hand to help it through. Maybe you have your block available under the left hand. Your right toe and knee are forward. Your right hand comes to your thigh, and then we elongate up through our spine. Send your back left arm up. You're just taking a nice low lunge here. It doesn't have to be your deepest sink into a lunge, but we're thinking more strength, stepping strong into that front foot. Good, growing nice and tall. Then as you exhale, offer forward, bringing your right hand back down. Left hand back down, opposite arm from leg. You can be on hand or on mat or block, any height. And then shifting our weight forward, tuck your back toe and elevate your back knee. Good, finding stability here. Your right leg is forward. Can you send your right arm forward on the diagonal? Good, as you feel the push back through the left heel. We're gonna find a sense of our standing balance here. So taking your lower left hand forward, press through your right leg, and then rise up, lifting your back heel. Good. And then we're gonna lower back down. Engage the leg, lower the toe. Maybe you feel balanced enough to broaden both arms up towards the sky. Good. Push back through the back heel, up through the hands, Anjaneyasana. Now go ahead and exhale, bow back forward. You can release the left hand to the block, or both arms could reach forward. As we again rise back up, floating spinal balance, or a version of Virabhadrasana Warrior 3. Everyone exhale, bend your base leg, float your back toe down. Inhale, both arms come up high to the sky. And then we open through to Warrior 2. Spiral your back heel down. Hello, quadricep, front leg is working hard. Arms are nice and wide. Feel the strength of the glutes, that same wide set. Good. Now start to glide forward. Reach through your right fingertips. Release your right palm or elbow to your knee and slice your left arm long by your ear. Again, maybe you lower your front hand down towards your block or inner edge of ankle. Arm and leg press into each other. Nice long through your side body. Tailbones lengthening towards your back knee. And then let's rise up like you're reaching up to a rope that's on the sky. Inhale, elongate your spine. If your block was in front, turn it to the long edge of your mat. Everyone extend your front leg, turn both toes to the long edge of your mat. Release your hands to your hips. Inhale, grow tall through your spine. And exhale, take a fold. Hands could come to blocks or mat. And you might take sides, Skandasana sweeps, just a little shift side to side. Or you could float into that nice forward fold, just letting your torso drape into your thigh. And then everyone's going to offer a bend back into your front right knee. You can bring your block with you as you turn your right toe to face forward. fortifying back into your lunge, bringing hands down inside the front foot, lowering your back knee, and lengthening your right leg back. Sending your blocks out of the way, tuck your toes. Let's find down dog pose. If a vinyasa or some sort of flow, sway, or wiggle serves you, take that here. Broaden back, feel the balance. The 4 points, foot, foot, hand, hand. The more macro, and then think of the micro. 4 corners of each foot. Foundation of each hand. Then we prepare to land. Look forward, lower your right knee to the earth. And then floating your left knee towards your armpit and stepping your left foot outside your pinky finger. Toe and knee point forward, hands could come up to your block. You might support your right hand, left hand to thigh, elongate your spine. Good, finding that fortification in your lunge, toe and knee forward, root down to then rise up, rising together, yes, yes. Thank you, Kira Gray. And as you start to reach your weight back forward, you can float your hand to your block or mat, tucking your back toe, lengthen your back knee. Finding a foundation of balance here, you take your left hand forward. So that left hip might try to get sappy too. Draw it back as you reach the fingertips forward. Feel the strength in your front leg, walk your right hand to hand print forward, and then float up, little balance. Your lower leg doesn't have to be straight. And then exhale, bend back down, find your lunge. You could lower your back knee for more support, but then everyone's arms rise up to the sky. Shoulders soften. And then float it back down, broadening. Your right hand comes to earth, your left hand forward, right leg lifts. Inhale, spring forward, or both hands could be forward for Virabhadrasana 3. You got it, nice firm breath. Everyone lower your back toe long to the earth. Send your arms high to the sky. We open through to warrior 2. I'll face towards the camera for you here. So your left knee is bending, your arms are lengthening wide. Good. Feel the sensation of sinking straight down through the center of your pelvis. Your back heel is pressing back. Then we float, reach forward, and then lower left elbow to thigh, or maybe along the inside. Send your right arm long by your ear, peeling your top shoulder back as you reach out long through the fingertips, opening through the inseam of the thigh. Then taking your top arm back up towards the sky like you're holding onto a rope. Float yourself up and firm your hands towards your hips. Extending your left leg will face towards the long edge. Both toes there, you might bring your block. Option to take the hands for that interlace again, open chest, and then everyone takes a bow forward. See if you can feel the connection of the feet as you draw your torso down. Knees could even bend here, folding from your hips. Again, hands could release to blocks to explore Skandasana, or you could stay holding behind your hips, bringing in a little bit of trust, like I will not drop me on my face today, right now. Good. Eventually, you're going to take that bend back into your left knee, releasing both hands towards your front leg. And then planting your hands, untucking your back toes, make your way to down dog pose, however sees fit for you. Eventually, we all send hips up nice and high to the sky. Fantastic. And then shifting forward to melt your knees to the mat a final time, finding our tabletop position. And then tucking toes, draw your torso towards your thighs and walk your hands back. So we let ourselves come into a toe stance. So we're balancing on the balls of our feet. Even here, not just to the pinky, pulling the inseam of the inner heels. It's an option to take your block under the front of your knees to get a little bit more foundation. But then we might start to bring hands up towards the thighs. Feel that support from the core. Maybe hands are hugging to heart. Hug your inner heels towards each other, toes stand, balance. And then we'll bring ourselves to stand. So some, play along the way. You might part your knees, think of sinking your heels back. Hands could come down at any time as your heels go down. Then your hands rise up. Let's take a big stand. Good. If your butt grazes the ground, no worries. Rise up. Release your hands down to your hips. Again, your block might be available out in front of you as we fortify into a final little balanced flow. So again, mindful of what's around us so we don't, teleport into our partners or into our couches. But we feel that foundation firm through both feet. In fact, I'm going to show you the exploration first, not so you can be like, okay, it's got to look like that. But if some of these poses sound familiar for you, you're not like, wait, no, what's she doing? And you're like craning your neck. So I'll show you where our flow is going to go, but it's your flow. So it's going to go where you want it to go. But what we're going to be exploring first is knee forward, then a tree pose, then a warrior 3 pose, then a half moon pose. You could bind it if you wanted, that big hamstring curl. Then we're going to rise ourselves back up. Option to hold knee, foot, Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, maybe open. Maybe you're like, what, Kristina? But you're going to do it. So block available towards the top. What this is about, again, is active. It's balancing, not balanced. I got it, but I'm going for it. All right, so let's go for it. So you can decide, if you want to do whatever that good leg means for you, you can do that first. I'll cue as if we're standing on our right leg. So start to elevate your left toe. You could bring that toe up to your block or hug it in heel to butt. Opening your foot to the inseam of the inner thigh or ankle. Push your legs together, squeeze your glutes. Rakshasana, tree pose. Could it be a fall equinox class without tree pose? Good. Then we're going to all draw our knee forward, hugging your heel to your butt. And then like a pendulum, start to bow your chest forward and kick your leg back. Your block is there for you. Your thigh is there for you to find a little balance, more support here. Now, your left hip, your top hip is going to start to open, turning your left toe towards the sky and releasing your right hand towards your block or mat. You could bend your base leg, no problem. Maybe that top arm reaches up towards the sky. Feel that nice warrior 2 sideline length. Now start to hug your heel in towards your butt, hamstring curl. Maybe you gather the foot. And then everyone start to draw the knees as if they're kissing towards each other. You can bend your base leg, feel your weight shift into your heel, and then rise up. You might hold on to that left knee, could lower the toe back to the block. This might be perfect, or we take that big toe grip, extending the leg forward. And then option to then find a twist, holding your right hand to your knee or toe, and then left arm, just let it go, open. And then everyone choose to exit the pose. So even if you fall, that's practicing falling, go like, all right, I'm back here, and now I'm done. All right, I feel like I'm seeing a bunch of smiles, right? A bunch of like, let's just go for it. Let's see it. Yes, smiles, thumbs up, mudras. I love it. All right, so we're going to do the second side, and then we're going to do each side one more. So the first time it's just like cerebrally, let my brain get it. Now you can just like let my body get it, do the other side. And then the last time through, it's just like we're vibing it. You could just be doing whatever you want. What's playing on the playlist right now? Who knows? All right. So hands to thighs, shrug your shoulders, and set your balance. And we recognize balance isn't standing still. It's taking what comes at us. So we start to intentionally shift over to that opposite, maybe left leg, elevate right knee. Knee rises up and then opens out to the side, Rakshasana tree pose. Inner thigh, ankle, toe on mat. And you can get that vibe going however you want your arms. Everyone draw your knee back forward. And then as you bow your chest, kick your heel back. Virabhadrasana warrior 3. Arms could go forward or it could be finding your block, your mat at any time. Then start to open, shine your top hip and heel towards the sky. As the hip goes up, the same hand as base leg goes down, right hand towards mat. Left arm might lengthen up towards the sky. Good. Find your balance. Keep finding it each breath. And then maybe you hug the back heel towards your butt Then we all draw our lifted knee towards our lower knee. You can tap the earth, no problem. Rise yourself up, holding top of knee or big toe. Maybe you extend in your flow. And then option, opposite hand holds foot or knee and the arm floats back. When you're like, yep, that's good for me, you're breathing, you know it, and you exhale, release. All right, I'm just so tempted. I kind of just like want to watch you go with your flow, but I'm here to guide. So let's bring ourselves back. So this time you might decide you want to like do some things, head, shoulders, knees, and toes with your arms. You can do that. But what you do is you breathe, you balance. So let's try back to that first side. Hands to heart, elongate your spine, root through the four corners. Right leg is stable, left knee lifts. Drawing up, opening out to tree. From tree, knee draws back forward, active balance. Sending the heel back as the heart, maybe hands grow forward. Good, you can bend your base leg, that's no problem. Same arm as leg lowers to the earth as you open up, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Option to hug heel to butt, maybe gathering that hamstring curl. Some people even try keeping the hold of the foot as you bend into base leg, hugging knee to chest, and then sending the foot forward, Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, or holding knee. Option to open out, Parivrtta, finding a twist. Knee could be on the earth, toe on the earth. And then everyone exits with opportunity, with intention, and embraces the experience for the opposite side. All right, let's give it a go. Inhale, elevate knee, open to tree. Good. From your tree, knee forward, and then float the foot back as your heart offers down. Good. You're breathing. Ardha Chandrasana. Same arm as foot to the earth, same arm as foot to the sky. Option to hug the back heel in, maybe grasp. And then we grow back tall, knees kiss together, and we lengthen out and forward. Good. Option to find that rotation. Breathe through the side ribs. And then broadening back to earth. Release with intention. And exhale. Close your eyes. Maybe returning hand to heart if that served you before. Other over hip or just below navel. Without judgment, without trying to change, notice your natural state of balancing. Is weight more towards your toes or heels, your left or right? One of my teachers really tunes that into your energy. Weight in our heels, maybe we're feeling sucked into our past. Weight in our toes, we're just pulling for the future. Weight to the right, we're really residing in our active, our solar power. Right in our left, we're really resting, lunar, feminine. So may you try to tune yourself right into the present. So allow yourself to shift your weight, equal foot to foot, best you can, heel to toe. Recognize that this balancing is an active state where we always can take time to recalibrate. Things move fast, they move slow, they feel right, they feel wrong. But one of the best gifts, ways to bring awareness back to our center, is with the breath. So we'll do a little breathing practice. If you're enjoying the experience of standing, I invite you to stay exactly as you are. Or if you're like, but I want Shavasana, you could go ahead and lay down or lower to a seated position. We'll just take a few breaths together to close out our practice. So again, standing, grounded, seated, supine, supported. But we allow our hands to rest along the midline of the body. And feeling back into the sense of aliveness, prana, the power in your breath. See if you can invite your inhale, an expansiveness from your belly, ribs to chest. And your exhale, a softening from chest, ribs to belly. Sometimes counting or trying to move it quicker rather than really deep can help set that rhythm at first. So we think of the inhale filling from bottom to top, and the exhale releasing from top to bottom. We think of our inhale as an upward lengthening, our exhale as a downward grounding. Maybe awareness of that current serves you perfect, and you keep your focus on that. Each inhale growing, each exhale grounding. But we also feel the balance of the breath. Our inhale, an expansiveness, front, back, side to side. Our exhale, a centering, drawing into our midline. Your exhale, drawing into your core. Like that's where the sands of time, one grain at a time, were exhaled present here. Inhale, we're open to the fullness of life. And exhale, we're centered. We'll take a few more rounds of breath, maybe sensing both. The inhale is uplifting and expanding. Your exhale is centering and grounding. The next 3 rounds of breath. And imagining, sensing this final breath, you, me, us together. Pausing at the base of your exhale, let your hands float to heart. And as your breath returns to its natural rhythm, notice the energy swirling in your body, things that might have changed, that have been awakened or put to rest in your practice. We can all offer together a bow of gratitude and grace for ourselves and all those we come in contact with or don't come in contact with. Feeling and sending out. Thank you. All right.
Thank you so much. I love that. I love building up to that fun balancing flow at the end. I think that probably everyone feels the same way, but feel free to unmute yourself and you can talk to Kristina if you'd like, or post in the chat.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was challenging.
It was really lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's exactly what I needed. Thank you, Kristina.
Thank you, Kristina. It was lovely.
Thanks,
Cool,
Kristina.
everybody.
And I
Hope to
love your
see you again.
outfit.
Of course, it's Kira Grace, you know, the cutout back. Catherine Budick, she just came out with the new fall collection, but this is like one of my all-time faves. I'm all about the sets now.
Have a good weekend.
Yay,
Take care.
see you later.
Thanks.
There's
Thank you so
more
much.
love in the chat, so make sure you see that. And I'm going to
Oh, thanks
that.
everybody.